Good evening. Wow, so they put me to talk after lunch. So I am here to make sure nobody fall asleep. So if I see anybody falling asleep, you have to come in front, put your hands in the air like primary school. Just say it. So I'm waiting for him. Good brethren, you have to load up the little PDF. How are you going? Oh, okay. So apparently it's loaded, but we wait on the projector. It come in, people, it come in. Alright, so I'll start the talk. So hi, my name is Ken. Good morning, well, afternoon. And I do a bunch of things. But before I start about what I do and who I am, I'd like to bring an important point to the forefront. Entrepreneurs need other people around them. So there are some people in this room who are cut out to be entrepreneurs, and there are some people in this room who are cut out to be workers. Now, there ain't nothing wrong with being a worker. There is nothing wrong with working 8 to 4. Now, I'm not saying you have to work an 8 to 4 government job. You know, you can work in a dynamic business. But at the same time, I would never be where I am today, or I would never reach anywhere in the future without people around me, such as my boy over there, or such as whoever else that I work with. And no entrepreneur, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, for all those 500 businesses, he probably has 60,000 staff members. And some of those staff members are millionaires. So I also want to embed into your minds, like today I'm going to talk a little bit about the qualities of entrepreneurs. But if you feel like this is not your sweat, it's okay. You could still have the riches, you can still have the glory. You don't need to be an entrepreneur now. So you can make a conscious decision as opposed to, you know, I really feeling to do this thing and everybody else doing it. And it's the way to wealth now. So I'm pointing out that this is not the only way to $1 million. And I'll start a little bit about the qualities of an entrepreneur. One of the main qualities of an entrepreneur is that they should be able to take risks, because usually 70% of businesses fail, according to the statistics I learned in business school. Just for the information of the audience, I attended the Arthur Jack Graduate School of Business, where I pursued a master's in business development and innovation. So a lot of the stuff that I talk about today on entrepreneurship, I actually learned from there, and the other half I learned from actually traversing the Caribbean stratosphere doing business things. So that's a statistic I got from business school. So most businesses fail. As a matter of fact, when I started this particular program, we started with about 20 people, and by the time to graduate, it's about 8 of us, because people just recognize it's not really their sweat now. So I think first up, I need to say that it's not necessarily your sweat, you know, it's not something that you have to do to be successful. You could be successful working with somebody else, and we entrepreneurs need people to work with us. I can't stress this enough. Like, I always tell other entrepreneurs, especially in the creative industry, like the only way to expand, like you only have a certain amount of time in a day. So if you want to expand your business, it's impossible to expand it by yourself. You need other people around you. I think we're getting some progress here, guys. All right, so I think this just reiterates who I am. All right, cool. So first slide is, hi, my name is Ken. Could you all see this? No? All right, I'll just explain everything underneath, right? Let's go to the first slide. So the first slide is, I have large parties. Now, I'll explain how I got into parties, and another quality of being an entrepreneur, which is the point of the story I'm going to give, is that you should also base what you're doing on what you like personally, what you are passionate about. So, everybody throwing parties, you're not really feeling, you really like parties, but you want to make some money. Probably that's not your sweat. Probably you're going to do it, and you're going to end up with an obstacle, and then you're going to realize that this is not really a passion now. So my first piece of advice is, follow your passion. Do what you're passionate with, and I'll explain another story. So, you know, of course, growing up like everybody else, at the time the big nightclub was Zen, I wanted to go Zen, I didn't want to pay. So I used to link my friends, used to put money on a list. It had this model who had a list, I used to link with her as well. She used to put me on a list until she decided to fly out to pursue a career in singing. So no more lists for me, that means I had to pay. Now, I like to party every weekend. So, and then I was working a regular job, like how I gonna afford that party lifestyle? And then I try to go VIP tour, this time I'm not even 21. So how I gonna afford that? So I say, well, you know what? I'm going to a little committee, probably I get a little links, you know, me the owner or whatever, the club, you know, we see how this thing goes. Joined a committee, had an event. The event went well, sold all of the tickets, and the guy was like, you know what? You did a good job, Ken, thank you very much. I'll see you later. So I was like, so again, $5. They don't give me the $5. Like, at least introduce me to the owner of the club so I can get in free, you know, that's why I'm here in the first place, right? Man never introduced me, right? It actually took me about another 3 years to meet this club owner. So anyway, so I decided, you know, I'm going to do my own thing. Started off doing my own events, and that's actually how I got into doing events and doing parties. And the only reason I was able to survive till this day, to still have events like up to this day, is because that is something I have a passion for. I have a passion for bringing people together. Like, I feel happy when I have an event and there's 1,000 people, there are 2,000 people, and everybody's having a good time. Like, that makes my day. Like, I good for like 2 months there. Like, I feel satisfied. I feel satisfied when my good friend, he's a soca, so I'm not going to call his name, met his current girlfriend in one of my parties. Like, I feel happy when, like, last year, a guy got married and he met his now wife in one of my events, you know. It makes me happy to bring people together. Because if you think about it, it's one of those social gatherings that bring a large amount of people together in a friendly environment. Okay, next slide. So this says, I tell stories using video as a cinematographer. So next thing is, sometimes, and I learned this from a young lady by the name of Abigail Dixon. She was 23 at the time, and she ran this old home for the elderly. So I was like, yo, you're 23, like, you running this home? So I think she's like working there, right? So I was like, no, like, is it really you? Or like, you know, you don't have to lie to me, you know, tell me the truth now. She's like, no, you're not really own it or whatever. So I was really intrigued now, you know, and so she was asking me for some assistance, like marketing or whatever. So I was like, cool. So I went up to the home a few times, and like, just from being there and being around, I felt as though she was really in charge because of, you know, of course, being there repeatedly. So after about the 5th visit, I asked her, I said, you know, how are you doing this? You know, I trying to do my little thing, not even, like this lady, I talking about she's 23 and she owns this 2-story building with people. I guess she was leasing it or whatnot, but she was running it, I should say. And when I asked her, she said what she did is that a year before, she started to plan. And every task that she would have given to another person, she just decided to do it herself, but do it a little earlier. So I said, it's a brilliant idea. So I decided to do the same thing for my events. So usually, when I first started off to have events, I used to treat everybody like me. So my friend Amani, who spoke earlier, I was like, right, great, Amani's here. So he's going to do exactly what I'm doing, but it sucked. Until she spoke to me, I decided what I should do is adopt a model where the things that I think that I am good at, or that I could do, I should do it, but just do it a little earlier. So it's like the event, for instance, that I would plan, it will have a few things to do, like book venue, you'd have to call your food suppliers, call your drink suppliers, sell tickets, print tickets, many different tasks. Let's say 100 tasks. Instead of trying to do all the tasks 2 months before and spreading it to 10 people, I would just start 6 months before. Book the venue 6 months in advance, print the tickets 5 months in advance, call the food suppliers 3 months in advance. So by the time 2 months in advance, all these things are done. So there's minimal work for the actual people who have to, you know, assist me. And that's actually what happened, and that's how I ended up getting into cinematography. What happened is I had this in the last great campus carnival. Campus carnival was the baddest thing. Like, if it wasn't there, pressure. No, like, honestly, like, it was the baddest thing. Like, I'm talking about, like, it was the biggest thing next to actual carnival. It had more people than Soca and Soca Monarch put together. Anyway, point is, I had a band in Campus Carnival. And I didn't know it was going to be the last Campus Carnival then. And it was the first time I had a band before I was part of another brand. And again, same thing. They didn't give me no leave, so I said I'm going to do it myself, which is my whole thing in life. So I was like, all right, I'll have my own band. Well, then I give me no leave, no problem. So I had my band, boom, we get 2,000 people. I cannot jump up in the band, you know, everybody had a good time. Cool, no problem. I think you play in the band too? Yeah, he played in the band too, so he could tell you for sure. So, great success. I was real happy. So I paid this guy $1,500 until I remember the amount. At that time, that was like real money to me now. And paid him. So I wanted him to come and do a video of the parade. So he came. He said, no problem, you can come with his camera. It's a big Canon camera, looking fancy. Jump up on the truck. Cool, waiting for my video now. I have about 2 shots of the crowd. In the crowd, there's about 5 people now. This man had 2,000 people. In the shots he took, it had about 5 people. And it had about 20 shots of him and the other guy who were also DJs at the time. Well, that broke my heart. So I said, oh, that's what's going on. I had another party, and I said, I'm going to buy my own equipment and do this thing myself. And that's actually how I got into cinematography. So as mentioned before, I have a passion for events. So recently, actually January last year, I started KenSambry.com as a cinematography company. And what we do is that we offer cinematography services specifically to people who throw parties. And that's because I will go parties to shoot. And I'll talk to the other guys there and be like, hey, how things? And they'll be like, boy, I'm so tired. I can't wait to go home. Oh, when this artist coming on stage, where I'm trying to go home here, I'm stressed. And I'd be like, so why are you here if you're so annoyed and stressed and you don't really want to be here now? And what I found is that most people, if not everybody else besides me, is literally doing it as a job. Literally doing it because they want to go and they want to come back home. And that's why I would applaud, like, brethren like I cannot. Sorry, there's only about 3 people I know in this audience. So you will be half the examples, right? I apologize in advance. But brethren like I cannot, who would have taken pictures in parties and then he recognizes this is my passion. I don't care about this. And then he'll do what he actually loves, which is what I would advise you all to do. So you don't have to waste time doing what everybody else doing, and you can just go directly to what you're passionate about. That is going back to my first point. So people like I kind of real nice creative people, but he ain't feeling to stop nobody in a party and say pose on a picture. I know I was passionate about, I actually more passionate about events, like way more than video. And because I had that struggle as an event planner, I felt as though I could provide a unique service. And in the first year of doing this business, it was actually very successful. So we worked for, well, everybody. So we worked for Bliss, Tribe, I don't know, Caesars, I worked for myself. I mean, I can just keep calling people, but a lot of people. And then I also started to do like a carnival video, which would usually go viral every year. So that way, you know, people could see from whatever country you are, what the carnival experience looks like. So interestingly, my video is the only video that is shot in a way that gives the carnival experience versus just pretty costumes. Because usually other people would like stay on the stage, so you would see all the costumes, but you wouldn't understand, well, this carnival is on the road. They wouldn't understand, well, this carnival, you know, you have trucks and you go to different places and you pass different areas now. So that was something that was unique. So cool, next slide. Okay, so a little bit more of my background. So this actually says that I help others bring their dream to reality on digital platforms as a digital marketer. So that's what I did events-wise and cinematography-wise, but I have a very corporate/academic background. So I hold a degree in public relations and journalism, and I also hold a degree in communications. And I was a journalist. I wrote for the Trinidad Guardian, and I also wrote for the Student Press, and I also worked as a brand manager for Red Bull for 3.5 years. So during all of these, like, I guess, experiences, I developed, I would say, a portfolio in digital marketing and strategy. So what I do today is that I help, well, right now it's mostly my friends, with their digital marketing and their strategy as much as I could. And I've now infused this with my other business, as I was telling you before, to shoot videos for events. So like, instead of just doing a video now, we will try to like do a little more of the marketing itself and find out like what is the objective. Because now it's no longer, you know, just a video. Now it's like Insta story, it's Snapchat, it's so many different things. So that's just a little bit more of my background, but for the purpose of brevity, I wouldn't go into this. So this quote says, "Carnival is the next oil." So I'll just let that sink in. Let it sink in. So you know everybody wants to work in the petroleum industry? Well, I have news for y'all. We're not going to get any more oil. The prices for oil also not going to go back up. The places that we export oil to are finding alternate means of energy, you know, electronic cars, They also have other things, I'm just not going to go into details, that getting them sources of energy. And in America, one of our biggest places of export, actually discovered their own oil, so they have much less a need for us. On top of all of this, the next issue with oil is that there's this thing called peak oil. Basically, let's say all this was oil. When the oil reaches this low down in the reserves, although you have a lot of oil still, the less oil you get, the more expensive it is to extract the oil. So it's more expensive to get the oil, prices going down, and then less people to export to. So although this is where a large source of our GDP comes from, oil is more or less dead. As a matter of fact, in my business school, they dropped, like they had an oil business something, they actually dropped all of the oil programs and they're doing sustainable energy programs instead of oil programs, because it doesn't make sense to train people in oil anymore. So saying that to you, I know like you all will be in different professions, but as Trinidadians, we have to work with what we have now. So regardless of what profession you are in, recognize that we have carnival in Trinidad and Tobago. It's something that we have, and you could go to any country, and if you talk about carnival, all you have to do is say two words, and once you have that Trinidad accent, you are an authority on carnival. People listening to you. People want to know what you have to say. Tell me about this. So that's one. And then two, another thing that I would share is that there's a very big diaspora, which refers to people who are from Trinidad/the Caribbean who live in foreign countries. And this is also a very big market. So that's like really the objective of this quote. And this is also like something else that you all could look at in your industry. So this is me and some friends in on my wall, just Lyman, Stefan and Tashana. Again, these people are really responsible for my success. Like I can't even begin to describe, even Amani who came before, like my foot, listen, I'm glad Amani is here so I can tell her the business. Amani is rich, right? So I can't kidnap him because he's gone. So this boy is rich. I was not. So when I had my first party, I had to go by the rich boy to invest because I get your money dog. You understand? And again, that is the perfect example, you know, like come out of this trying to do everything yourself. Go by somebody else. You understand? Hey, everybody born with different circumstances. Right, so thank you to Amani and other friends. From childhood, I grew up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. You know, those people who go door to door and talk to people. That's why I like to talk and I'm always talking and blah, blah. And adolescence, I used to sell stuff in school. I used to sell Clarks and Jansports all the time and other random paraphernalia. In adulthood, I like lived that party life. Like I was working Red Bull, so like Red Bull was all about parties, all over the world actually. And we hosted Flutag, etc. to do communications, because again, I was doing IT because everybody was like, there's the in thing and you're gonna make real money. And then I was like, sit down programming for hours by myself, nobody else. Nah. And then I switched. But the IT background is still responsible for a lot of the social media stuff that I do today. Now, I'm into advertising and entrepreneurship, and I'm about to change the world. All right, cool. So I have 3 stories. One is Jamboree Mass. So, the story of Jamboree Mass is that, well, as I said, I was part of this other band. I didn't get to do it. But the real story behind it is that I was not a UE student. Now, Campus Carnival is actually not Campus Carnival. It's UE Campus Carnival. I was attending Custard. Now, as a Custard student playing in UE Campus Carnival, the price is higher, as in literally used to be UE student, $150. Other tertiary, $200. I wasn't going through that. I find Custard students the baddest thing. So I didn't understand why I had to be paying more money for Campus Carnival. So I was like, again, I want to do my own thing with Custard students. And I think it was more difficult because most of the Custard students did not know anything about Campus Carnival. So I had to go. So generally, everybody else was saying, come to campus. And people say, okay. So I had to be like, hey, good morning. Do you know what is Campus Carnival? No. Well, it is so, and explain from the top. And then convince people to give me their money so that I could provide them with a band. So we had to jump through many hoops. I had to go and get Amani's sister to go and sit on the guild, not on the guild, on some communication committee or whatever, and then sign our band up because again, we ain't UE students. And then when she signed our band up, we faced a lot of opposition. As a matter of fact, one other band leader told me, and I quote, Ken, how are you going to do this thing, boy? You don't know sponsors? You never had nobody, like you need sponsors to do this. Because at the time, honestly, it's an all-inclusive experience at $150. This is in 2011. Like, to do that is very difficult. You would have like a cooler with food, and you will have premium drinks. And I like premium stuff, so I wanted my brand to have a premium, to give a premium experience. But what I don't know if he knew, but what he may have not known is that I was working bridals. So I just went around to all the brand managers. I was like, hey, brand managers, I'm having a band, blah, blah, blah. And I was able to get tons of sponsors. And even these sponsors I didn't know, I remember I had some real interesting experiences, like at Coca-Cola and also at Heineken, where like, for Coca-Cola, I actually, and this is why I think that you could really do it on your own. To get the Coca-Cola as my sponsor, I looked in the telephone directory, I called Coca-Cola, and then when I called, I said, hey, could you put me on to the marketing person? And I didn't know if it was manager, I didn't know what it was called, so I said marketing person. They put me on to some lady who was the guy's secretary. So I didn't ask to speak to the guy, because I know he's busy, he don't have time for me. So I said, can I get the email address for the marketing person? And then she was like, oh, you mean Marlon Nualo? And I was like, yeah, him. Yeah, send his email address. So I sent him my email. 1 week later now I know he didn't read the email, because again, who is Ken? Nobody. So I called back. Real hot and sweaty, hey, can I speak to Marlon Nualo? Like me and him is best friends. Cool, he put him on or whatever, answer the phone. So I said, man, you got my email I sent about a week ago, boy. You saw it? He said, nah, boy, I didn't see it yet, I didn't see it yet. I say, well, all right, I just right in the area there, you know, around the corner, let me come in and talk to you now. He said, I'm a little busy now, but come quick. Well, fastest I ever get ready. I live in right around the corner, bathe in tutus, put on a little jersey, a little jeans, going up in the meeting. Up in the meeting, I'm on jersey, a little dinge, you know, back in his poverty days. So jersey, a little dinge, whatever, pull up. First thing the man do was him had the Sandy jersey. That was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. He said, can you just look at the dinge? Hold on to this Sandy jersey. They gonna look better on you. That's how the meeting starts. So I say, boy, pressure. How I doing this? So I say, how going on, brother? You know, being real. You know, I come from media, whatnot. We want to get some little sponsorship for the band we having. We're going to have about 400 people in the band. You know, let me know, come out or whatever. He said, all right, here's what I want to do, boy. We had this new energy drink, how you push. You got to push this energy drink hard and you get a sponsorship. Now, I was working Red Bull. I can't push no energy drink. What are you talking about energy drink? Boy. So I said, brother, another point, honesty is very important. So I was honest, I said, you know, I'm working Red Bull, so I can't push no energy drink. I can push everything else. I can push everything else so good that we don't need to push that energy drink. So he said, yeah, big talk. All right, no problem. Well, here how sponsorship does work. You don't get nothing free, you know, you have to purchase. So let me see your purchasing power. So I say, well, you know, it's 500 people, so I guess you could purchase a few things for 500 people. He said, all right, well, when it comes closer, you'll come back with your numbers. Fast forward in the story, the band exploded, we had 2,000 people, so I had all the purchasing power in the world. So I come back with like literally like $100,000 to buy drinks, and we probably spent half of that at Coke, and then they gave us like I literally, if anybody knew me around that time, like I had like drinks in my house for like probably like a year. Like it was ridiculous. Like I had a party after, I had a party like later in the year. Like this campus carnival was in February. I had a party called Luau in like what month is that? August. We still use drinks from campus carnivals, right? Like we just had that amount of drinks. And from that, like even up to this day, he and I still have a really good relationship, and I no longer go to business meetings in dingy jerseys. So please don't do that. You know, learn from my mistakes, guys. Learn from my mistakes. So that basically was Jamboree Mass, and we did well. And then Campus Carnival started happening. So then the next year we decided we're going to do our own thing, because again, Campus Carnival lock off. Can't easy about this thing. So we want to do our own band. So we did our own band. People come in and jump up same way. And everybody had a good time. And then that was that. And I would actually talk about one thing that was just more recent. Jamboree Mass had different leaders. And we decided we're gonna, not next slide yet, and we decided we're gonna close down the company. And you know, we're gonna do some other things in life, and maybe later on, pick it back up when we could probably have a master band or something. You know, later in life after we get some more money or whatever. I wanted to do my masters, people on different wavelengths. Cool. 2 years down the road now, one of the guys decided he gonna do jamming master by himself. He didn't tell nobody. I just woke up one morning, opened my Facebook, I realized I'm not admin no more, and Jerry doing things. So I said, well, okay. We talk, you know, who wanna do the next one, the bacchanal. I was like, look, you know, it's a line I actually got from Jay-Z. He said, if you made me, then make another me. Which basically says that, like, at the end of the day, power is really vested in you now. So, like, don't feel bad if, like, you know, you have a business and you have to leave or you have to start your own business or things don't go well. Because at the end of the day, whatever you were bringing to the table, you could just bring to the table somewhere else. So, if you are really the baddest thing, then it don't matter where you bring yourself to. It don't matter. It could be, I always say it could be grass carnival. Grass carnival will be the baddest thing. So my point is, like, that is my point now. So, like, all businesses don't ever come without rough patches and, like, I am no longer part of this business. Like, if you see anything and looking a little dingy, I have nothing to do with it. Right? So it just kind of goes to show, like, at the end of the day, stuff happens and you need to pick up your pieces and you need to move on. So 2 more stories and then, I don't know the time going, but I feel like I'll wrap up. Yeah, talking for a while. Cool, Tingle agency. All right, so, wow. Okay, so, finished my degree in communications and I got my dream job in an advertising agency. Now, I always want to be an ad guy because it's pay plenty money. You get to wear cool blazers and jeans and you get to be cool and work on all like the cool little projects and, you know, so in like AC offices and just flying to play. Dream job. I was actually graduating and they called me for the job. So, what's that mean if I apply? I am the king. Somewhere in that experience, I decided to leave this dream job and start my own agency, which was Tingle Agency. At the time, I was having parties as well. Fast forwarding to the end, I had an event. No, not the end of the slide. Fast forwarding to the end of the story, I had an event. For events, I'm usually very, very busy. So I was like, guys, this week I'm real busy. You all handle all these stories and like I will get back to you all after. After the event now, events were nice, you know. But you know, we could do stuff in the future and we could continue. So I was like, probably not. And then I went my own separate ways. Like, no, you could go to the next slide. And then I started Define Studios. And now, Tingle doesn't exist. But Define Studios is still going strong. So you remember what I tell all you just now. It's all about, at the end of the day, whatever you bring to the table, you can bring to the table anywhere. And one of the other, closer to the last pieces of advice I will give is that it's important to move quick. Like, time waits on no man. I think that was in my first slide. Like, don't waste your time living somebody else's life. If you know you're not about the party life, then lock it off. Forget that. If you know you're introvert and you're trying to stay home, find something that's interesting in being home. If you know you're extrovert and you like to go out, find people to be around. So my point is, move quickly. Like, don't waste your time in things because you just know it's not going to work out. You will just know. You'll be in a business and you'll be complaining to all your friends. You know what Johnny do yesterday? Johnny tell me something. I don't want Johnny problem. You know, you're not pulling your wage. Like, so why are you still there? Start a new business. Like, oh, time going. All right, cool. Next. All right, this is the slide before that. Define Studios company I started. I see Sonny Blink coming there, so I'm going to skip that slide. There you go. Sit down. All right, cool. Sorry, you said? Oh, sorry. He has something to say.
So, well, I didn't know that you actually own the Define Studios, but the work is really good. I saw it with precision as well, really overhead and nice.
Dude, thanks. Okay, thanks. thanks. I really appreciate that. I mean, it's really heartening to me, like when your work speaks for itself, so that's really good. And I think it's something that we all should aspire to. So, you are who you are associated with. And for this part of this is like the second to last slide, guys. So for this part, I have like this best friend. No, I gotta call his name, okay. So his name is Nestor Robert Anthony Boxell. Otherwise known as Second Star, right? So me and this guy best friends long time. So we always, like I think the one thing that we have in common, although we went different secondary schools and so on, is that we are both, I guess, we both think highly of ourselves. So I remember both of us were working regular jobs. He wants Sonny Blinks, to work in government and stuff. And we both weren't fitting on. And at the time, all of this guy's friends were telling him, boy, stay in your work, boy, want you, boy. You need money to do things. He actually was studying law at the time. I was working, I wanted to go and do my own things. My friends were telling me, like, nah, save, buy a car. You need a car to pick up girls, dog. Like, you can't pick up girls if you have no car, kid. What you gonna do? Come now, man. And what happened was, he and I, our bond kind of grew through, like, that common relationship. And then now, he's a popular soca artist. He's probably gonna win some things. And he's doing really well. And now I am who I am. Now I actually have staff. I have people who I pay salaries to, I have people who I work with. And now my business is, I'm actually in the process of taking my business to several other countries. As a matter of fact, Jamboree, we took it to Jamaica 1 year for Campus Carnival. So this year I'm going to go to Jamaica, Barbados, and several other countries to carry like my other businesses now. And same thing with him, and actually it's working well because he's going to be going to different countries to perform. So it's going to work hand in hand as you go to different places to do events and other things. So I always say that I could tell who you are by looking at your 5 closest associates. Like, I don't have to meet you. I could just look at them and then like, that's who you are. So you had to think about who are those people around you now. They have to be a reflection of whatever you want to be and whoever you see yourself as in the future or today. All right, next slide. And my last point is, you have to believe. Now, I cannot come and say that you are the baddest thing. I know I am the baddest thing. So it's really up to you to believe in yourself. And I mean, after all those examples, like, I feel like even from my standpoint, from where I stand on the stage, I went through a lot of trials and tribulations, as I have shown. And every time I've come out fighting, I mean, even to this day, I'm still fighting, I'm still trying to do stuff. So, in closing, I would reiterate, you have to believe.
Give him a big round of applause on that, man. Come on now. Ken Sambury. Yeah? Y'all having a good time here today, everybody?